Hello, and welcome to our AMA. I'm Rochelle, EffectDAO member and Chief Talent Officer at Effect.ai, and I will be moderating this event. Today we're gathered here to discuss and answer the community's questions regarding the Effect Network, the EFX token, the DAO, and activities relating to Effect.ai. I'm joined today by fellow EffectDAO members Anna, Bree, DJ Strikanova, Jehuda, and Mikkel. Joining us from Effect.ai are CEO Chris Daw and the CTO Jesse Isis. Now, over many months, we've gathered questions and topics of interest from the community and presented these to the team at Effect.ai. The EffectDAO members and Effect.ai team have a shared goal that you leave this AMA with a better understanding of these topics we're about to discuss. By default, all of you in the audience are muted, but towards the end of our AMA session, with time permitting, we'll allow members of the audience to ask questions. Now, the recent rebranding positions Effect Network as a decentralized platform that connects businesses and developers to a global workforce while also allowing workers to work from anywhere at any time. For Effect Network, this is an exciting time. While there's still work to be done before all aspects of this can be fully decentralized, the Effect.ai team is working hard to make this a reality. Change brings with it the opportunity to move forward. However, moving forward is difficult when there are lingering uncertainties and misunderstandings. To start shedding light on these subjects, I'll hand things over to Bree. Bree, let's start off with one of the most interesting and exotic topics of this event, China.
Okay, I had to remember to accept. So any speakers, remember you got to accept the invitation. Hi guys, I'm going to start with China. Just, well, me personally, I find it quite interesting going into all around the world. So I find the hubs in Georgia interesting. I find China interesting. So do I have Jesse and Chris available to join me here? Here we go. Hi, Jesse.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
How are you doing?
Doing well. Doing well.
Good.
Thanks for the
Good.
intro.
Hi, Mikkel. And Chris has his hands up. Awesome. And we'll wait for him to come in. So obviously, you guys have answered questions already. And we're going to, all of us are going to have a different way of approaching this, how we interview you. But I'm going to do the best I can in my particular way of doing things. So I want to know more about China. I want to know about the office there. I want to know about who's working there, what happens during the day there. So I think we can just have a conversation about China. That works? We're still waiting on Chris here?
Yeah, of course. I think Chris still has to either accept the...
I think so, maybe, yeah.
Or...
It's at the top.
Yeah, green bar at the top.
There we
Thanks
are.
for that. I didn't see that. First of all, thanks everybody for showing up. Appreciate it. Excited to get to engage with the community at any point and always. Yeah, excited for my brother Jesse to be joining and everybody to be participating here. Really cool to see that the DAO has come together and formulated different responsibilities to make different things possible. So I really feel that this one's a major part of the DAO. And that makes me proud to be here today.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll kick things off with China. China is an absolutely massive market. It's something we wanted to get into at the very beginning of the Effect.ai project back in 2017. Me and Jesse flew out to China, and we've had several meetings in Hong Kong as well. It's a big market, but you need to pick your battles and your go-to-market strategy, and we decided to skip that for a bit. But as things have developed, we thought that it was incredibly important to have a presence there, not just a presence though. So a lot of people can say we're in the Chinese market, but to actually register a business there and to start doing business in China. It's incredibly hard. So if there's any business owners here that have gone through that process, it's a long process. It's really, really hard. And you have to stay on top of it constantly and continuously. China is a very hard nut to crack, but we see major value in the future. So as you guys probably know, we don't do things super short term, and then really thinking about the long term, sustainability of the project. And so, yeah, we've opened up an office there. That is a part of the process is you have to have a physical location with somebody that works there from time to time.
Right.
But
how many are in the office all the time? How many people are in the office?
It's a shared office space, and we have one person there for administration tasks, but you don't need to have people operating in China to have a Chinese office. I don't think any company's ever gone into China starting with like an office full of people. It's not what we were trying to suggest in any capacity. We have a Chinese team and a Chinese lead that works with us on a daily basis. We do have 2 Chinese people that are on payroll over in China, and they don't need to work out of that office because of COVID and all of the other things that are transpiring, and because of the vast, the sheer size of China. Going to Hong Kong doesn't make sense. We have 2 very talented people over there, and then we have Velika, who is managing that and most of those things. So like this whole office stuff is it's not even a thing. So. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on from the actual physical space, then let's talk about the business of what's been happening in China or through the Chinese office. So we've got, you've got a question here about major language barrier and how that's overcome. But you've got Velika, you've got some people there who speak English. So I'm assuming that you guys can manage the language barrier just fine. I also have a question here about the influencers, and I know there was an AMA where there was a flash on the screen, not an AMA, sorry, a weekly effect or an Ask Effect, where there was a bunch of flash screens about different influencer pictures on who's involved in Weibo and all that sort of stuff. But there's been like a major crackdown in Chinese government, and this has got to be impacting the efficiency of accessing the influencer job that needs to be done for you. Is there a plan around this?
So to just touch base on the very first part of that question with the language barrier, there's language barrier aspect of what we do with the Effect Network. It's more a cultural thing. So the cultural thing with different countries is one thing, but with China, it's an absolute major thing. There's challenges there to make that happen and to do that. And as you can see, there has been an incredible crackdown on cryptocurrencies, especially cryptocurrency influencers. And many of our influencers not only were cracked down upon and totally wiped out of social media, but it's almost impossible to find them right now. So who knows what the heck happened with a lot of these people. But this is the day-to-day stuff that's going on, and we're daily having meetings about what is transpiring in China and how to make sure that we still maintain a presence and do our things. We have an official Weibo account, which most cryptocurrency projects do not. So that was a very challenging thing to do. And we're trying to make sure, just like we do with everything. If you talk to Stephen Durlow from back in the day when he was advising us on how to actually do this, it was my biggest concern, and same with Jesse and the teams, to make sure that we do this by the book. China is no different. We want to make sure that we don't break rules and that we have a long-term focus on that market in all aspects of what we're doing. So there's definitely going to be challenges along the way, and it's difficult, but we meet and we talk and we discuss and we find out what we can find out in that market and see how we can deal with it.
Okay, thank you. Definitely culture difference for sure. So it's good that you've got work on that. All right, I want to know also, even though there's been this disruption to the influencers and the ability to move through all that, is there Has there been any actual business or requesters secured in China yet?
I'm going to leave that one to Jesse, but I will take that one as well. We're always constantly, for the products and services that we have, we're always looking for clients. Chinese-based, like pure clients, maybe not, but we do a lot of Chinese work. So we do a lot of Chinese translations, which open up all kinds of different possibilities for the actual products and services that we have. It's not the big major focus right now. We wrote a roadmap for this year, talking about setting up our hackathon and making sure that all the documentation is there to start attracting people to come to the platform to build products and services. That's the real big storyline here that I think a lot of people don't get. But when real developers and entrepreneurs come on board, they'll get it really quick, because we hear from them. DJ Strike and Nova is one of those guys that says, he
Okay,
joined us to build.
Chris, sorry, I'm gonna stop you right there and redirect back to the China questions. I think Bree has another follow-up one concerning Weibo.
Okay. Chris Dodd being moderated, sacrilegious.
Yeah, I do. Sorry. And I apologize. I've got a couple of chats on Discord that I just can't figure out which ones need muted. So I'm sorry about any bleeps you might be hearing. Yeah, with Weibo. All right. So you said there's thousands of followers on Effect Weibo account, and this is great, which means there's some people following. There's movement. There's engagement. But how do we know, or how do you know that a lot of that isn't just bots, that it is actually real people?
Don't have a clue.
Okay.
I don't have a clue either way. I have no idea. I figured.
Also,
yeah.
I also don't know for sure, of course, but according to Velika, she's here as well, listening in and pitching in, and yeah, it's quite certain that most of them are real people. How they do, I don't know, but I guess Weibo has their systems to.
That's their systems. Okay. So Velika's pretty sure that it's mostly people. Okay. All right.
There is a background check as well by account, so they check, and there's
Oh, okay. So it's
better than
not like Telegram where anybody can just create anything and join in.
Yeah.
No, because it's all connected to like your phone number and your identity and all of these things. The Chinese, you can't play these games with these guys. They want full control, and so I think it's really hard to make that happen, and probably not impossible, obviously. So, but what I gather from the Chinese market is that it's pretty crazy strict with these things.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I've got another question here. I just noticing that I'd written down. I'm just curious. You don't have to give an exact number, but a ballpark, is it really expensive to have an office in China? Like,
No.
Some real estate's really pricey. Some isn't. I was just curious.
It's the challenge was all of the red tape that you have to go through. The cost was a reasonable cost to be able to set up and accomplish that. All of these things to be able to do like real official business over there and work with real Chinese companies and make sure that you've passed the government check. So that was the hard part. It's not too expensive from this point on.
Okay. And then just in one last little comment here about China, and we'll move on to my next favorite topic. What has been the greatest challenge of setting up in China? What was the one thing that it was the biggest challenge to overcome?
There was hundreds. There legitimately, with doing anything like this, people don't get it. You don't just go and set up a company in China. Like, good luck. Like, try. I challenge everybody in the world to try. It was an incredibly big challenge, but it's something that we sat down for several weeks and over several years with this project knowing that Chinese, their position, that nation and being part of that is important for the technology that we're building. And we need to be there, and we need to start building that now. So yeah, the challenges were vast. There is no one specific one, but Velica would come in with her hair, standing up, going, "Oh my goodness, this is what happened. Oh, I just did the verification with Weibo 74 times. The Chinese government has now contacted us. We have to go through all of these different phases. We need identification. You need to be on calls." There was a lot of work to get there, but it's being managed and run really professionally, and really excited to grow that out.
And that's great.
There's also like the changing policies are one of the most challenging things. So the policies change day by day, and they really they check very strictly if you comply by policies. So Velica has had dozens and dozens of midnight phone calls for hours with officials from China, and they have to check every detail, and you have to explain every detail. So that's a very long process. And the hard part is that it changes day by day. So you keep having to repeat all these things.
So that's probably the biggest step moving forward, is just to keep up with the policy changes and make sure you're in compliance.
Okay, very good, very good. Now that we've covered most of China, I'd like to shift our conversation now to hubs and partnerships, which garner a lot of interest within the community. So let's start off with Africa. Bree?
So hubs, George's hubs. This is one of my favorite things. This is one of the things I'm really looking forward to seeing, and I know it's a future goal. I need to see you guys make success with these hubs in Africa before I start pressuring or trying to create hubs in Canada or other places in the world in collaboration, perhaps. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the success of those hubs and how they might unfold and how they come together. It's one of the areas that really piqued my interest in this project to begin with, because I see such a need for something like that here in my own backyard. So oh my goodness, stop beeping at me. Sorry. All right, so the first question here, just can you give us an update on what's going on with Akon? And I'm going to let you talk for a little while I try and figure this out.
Yeah, no, I don't have too much to say. Obviously, with COVID-19 and everything, it's gone on far longer than I think most have ever thought about. So, we kept on talking about getting out there. I had a bypass to get there. I had a political party give me entry and make sure that everything was cleared and good to go. But it's just not the right time. Like, there's no way to mobilize these centers. We have this space in Kenya, in Western Kenya. It's an exciting venture to be able to be part of. It takes a lot of work and a lot of attention if you're doing it fully and completely. And right now we're not. That being said, I got a message just a couple of days ago from John from Acoin, who says, "All of da, are you ready for prime time? Travel restrictions reduced, political strength in place, universities on board. It's time to open the hubs. Big growth and updates. Let's go." I continuously talk to these guys, talking about setting up these places and setting up these things. There's a lot of work to be done on the entire Effect network to make things possible, but to get guys on here, to get into the universities over there, there's some big updates for not just Kenya, but the rest of Africa with this and the support that we're getting. But right now, I'd rather produce something big than to have everybody come along for the small details of the ride. I think the impact will be big once we actually deploy and make it happen.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too. It's my favorite aspect of the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that one. All right, let's talk about, let me just check. No more on, all right. Yeah, you really covered that. But so the EffectDAO and Blockchain Center is still active. Can you just let us know a little bit more about what's actually happening in that hub?
Yeah, Georgia was hit incredibly hard with the COVID restrictions. Anybody coming into the country, I had several friends, they get shipped off into the mountains for like, I don't even know what it was. It was more than 14 days quarantine with no access to anything. So I wasn't going there whatsoever. It's getting better there, of course. And yes, the hub is open. It's there. There's not too much activity going on right now. So what happened with a lot of the hub members is they went home to their home villages, which are in rural out of the center of Georgia to their families. And so there hasn't been too much activity there. We communicate frequently with that whole entire organization. I talk to the United Nations all of the time. We're working on all kinds of different stuff right now, but yeah, the hub's there. Hopeful for more stuff going on. They're taking the Ivan Tech Academy courses and completing those ongoing. And I think there's a lot of communication with the hub members and the academy, like Ivan Tech Academy, other than with us, because there's not so much work opportunities for them on Effect Force right now. But yeah, still good.
And there's a question later about the academies, but now that you've mentioned it, is the academies are they still going to continue? So once the SDK is completed, will Ivan Tech's academies include that, bring that SDK into, like, some of that information into his academy so that he can teach people about it? I guess. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting question. I was about to say, like, it has nothing to do with anything, but I think what you're saying is, like, will Effect Force and the Effect Network be featured in the academy? How to build these types of things, and yeah, it's a great potential to be there. It's nothing that's been discussed at this point. So yeah, should be something that is there, especially if the participation that we hope for. With developers building, task-related, decentralized task-related services with a decentralized workforce. I think it'll be featured more places than just Ivan Tech Academy. But yeah, let's get there and see.
Okay. All right, and then back to United Nations for a bit here. So the bottle counting task and the other tasks that United Nations had, they were completed. They were successfully completed, but then that's the problem with completing AI stuff is the AI learns and then there's no more tasks. But do you know, is there any more tasks that will be coming in from the United Nations?
We're not really focused on so this is what we decided long ago. So a lot of people talk about the satellite imagery and all of these different tasks that we did in the past, and is there going to be data labeling for this or that? We've built specific products, and when noise comes from outside of those products, like United Nation tasks and stuff like that, we say no. We say no because we really need to focus on stuff. Every distraction just takes away from the bigger things that we're doing. So I'm certain that there's a lot of different things we will work with the United Nations. Just having that official partnership with them is not easy to do, and we have it. And there's all kinds of stuff. So I've talked to many different members of the United Nations over the past year from different departments, different countries. They all operate a little bit differently. There's all kinds of opportunities, but we're very focused on a few different things to make sure that the growth is proper. So I don't see any like one-off, tasks for the United Nations happening anytime soon, but we are working on some pretty interesting things.
Cool. And what about effect pieces and any more work with the refugees for that? Is there more coming to fruition with that?
Yeah, that's what we're working on. Big things.
I like effect pieces. I'd like to see a lot more of that.
Yeah, a standalone project. If Effect Network just totally abandoned everything and just did that, I think it's one of the biggest projects in space. But it's hard without 2,000 employees to be able to build these things out. But yeah, I'm still very actively working with them on that and building building stuff out with them in regards to that and regards to other things NFT related. They're interested. They have lots of firing power. They have lots of influence. There's stuff happening.
Okay, so I'll be looking forward to a lot more of that in the future. All right, somebody's asked a question about Travala. Now, not just Travala, but other projects. So any possibility or looking at having partnerships with some other projects that are out there?
Yeah, so some of these products that we built were very crypto related. We validated, with especially translations with Kraft Heinz. We get that big monster, and we're about to deploy a bunch more Kraft Heinz tasks, I think, in the next couple of days. We're with their legal department. We're working, like, what we've built there is just like Jesse and Lawrence both have built something special there, but we wanted to do all kinds of translations for these companies and stuff. I talked to Travala. A lot of people understand. I know the Travala team pretty well. We're always open to partnerships that make sense, but maybe Chris Dawes about making empty, silly partnerships with crypto projects, but Jesse and Lawrence will never be that. So we, as the Effect Network, will also never be that, and we're better for it. If there's something there that makes like really great sense, then of course. We set our aims a little bit higher than just like crappy crypto project partnerships.
Great. Thank you, Bree and Chris. So, continuing on, let's cover some other areas. Social communications channels have recently undergone some changes. Bree, let's start with that.
Well, I'm a big fan, and not everybody agrees with me, but some people do agree with me, that we need more team-based community admins. I don't mean team like Rochelle. Rochelle's been stepping up, and I appreciate what she's done recently. Maybe not everyone does, but I certainly have. But she should be working on other things. She shouldn't be on the community chats moderating. And Jehuda, he's great, but he's got to sleep sometime. He can't be there 24 around the clock. And you've got a large contingency of community members that are on the Americas side, North America, South America, right? Their active hours are when you guys are sleeping. So we need somebody around the clock who can engage in conversations, who can questions. And bots are helpful to a point. And anybody who still hasn't figured out that you can actually shut the bot off if it's annoying you and you've read the messages 100 times, but they're helpful, but they're not human interaction. So I'm like almost begging, can we get another admin opposite of Judah? So there's a little bit crossover with them, but for the most part, they're on opposite ends of the clock. That's my thought. Is there any plans for one?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I'm totally, totally agreeing. I have like the highest respect for Jehuda and Rochelle for doing this like so dedicated around the clock. I'm definitely not in there like often enough to moderate or do anything. So I'm 100% for having like professional admins and more of them. So in all time zones, we can have support in Telegram and like official admins answering and be there to represent the project. So yeah, 100%. There is no like, we haven't made a decision, but we'll start looking actively. I guess there's either in the community a lot of people that can do this and would like to do this, or look outside of the community and attract some talented admins. So yeah, absolutely agree with this question. So it's something we'll put quite high on the list of priorities.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Maybe Jehuda has like a brother in the States or something, because we need another one of that guy.
Well, I've seen a few really good community members step up, and I'd like to think I'm one of them. But I know personally, I don't want the responsibility of having to do it. So I'm okay with it being a volunteer thing for me. But there might be somebody who's already really good at it, already been doing it, who maybe just with a little bit more admin controls and a little bit incentive would take it a little bit more seriously. and take on more responsibility with it. So you could look within to find somebody, but maybe we need to look without, just say. All right, that's all I got to say on that one. I think that's pretty self-explanatory after that. So I'm going to take Rochelle's role here and move us on to the next section, which is Chris talking about Chris. Everyone's favorite. All right, so we would like you to reflect on your past year or two, or 2020 anyway. It's been a really heck of a year. But if there was something you could do different, Chris, what would it be? So there's one thing you could have changed.
I would have taken more time off to see my kids. That's what I would have done. I would have done that every year.
I think that would have been great. Much more healthy.
Yeah, listen. You learn a lot with everything that you do in life, especially when you dedicate and sacrifice everything, like seeing your family and being around people. You don't have to pity me at all. I'm a grown man. I make my own decisions, and I do. I put a lot on the line to make this happen. Yeah, I'm on the battlefield each and every single day with Jesse and Lawrence, you know. But I'm there like full time. I'm there from morning till evening every single day, including weekends. And there's not too much in between. And I feel a lot of responsibility, and that weighs really heavy on my back. And I will continue to do so to see this through. I'm finding all kinds of incredible ways of balance and working remotely when I need to. Right now, I'm working remotely, doing this call with my family, you know, outside and away from this. But when it comes to business, yeah, I've learned a lot, and especially in this is not normal. This crypto space is not normal. The ridiculousness of the stuff that transpires and goes on is not normal. And then when me, Jesse, and Lawrence sit down and chat about these types of things, it's incredibly difficult to understand the landscape and how it's working. It seems easy from the outside, but from the inside, it's incredibly difficult. There are hundreds of things I would do differently. It's really easy. So is there for every single person that's in this room. Yesterday, you would have done 100 things differently if you knew the outcomes, you know, so, especially if you're doing something that matters. I can talk about like focusing on certain aspects of the Effect Network and key things that we think that are more powerful than other things, and looking back, testing and trying these different things. We're a small team, but we're incredibly ambitious. So yeah, we learn a lot, and that'll never stop. So I have nothing specific, but there's about 46,000 things I would change. But that's no more or less than every single year of my life.
Okay, that's good. I totally relate. And I always feel like family's first. And I remember thinking last year at points that you weren't doing enough of that. And that's life.
I'm still not. I'm still not, and that is life. I will find balance or die trying, but it's cool with me and all good.
Okay,
I do.
great. Thank you, Chris and Bree. Now I would like to bring Anna into the conversation and discuss worker and requester topics.
Sorry to interrupt, but we may want to ad hoc switch things up here, because I think Michael told us he has to leave a little bit in about 40 minutes. So I don't know if it's fine if we can scroll down to Michael's Binance Smart Chain section and then go back up to Anna's.
Yeah, that will work. Give me 1 second here.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
Then I'll take it from here.
Going on here.
Thank you,
There we
Bree,
go.
for the first question. Am
Thank
I
you.
audible, by the way? I am, right? Yeah, should be good. Cool. So, thank you for pre-answering many of the questions already, and the community can find many of the answers already in the document. So I won't repeat all the questions, but I will try to dive in a bit deeper and maybe also a bit broader. because I have also personally been involved in some proposals from the DAO to fix the PancakeSwap liquidity issue. But before going into the liquidity part, I think many people in the community expected great things coming from the Binance Smart Chain. And the launch of the bridge and the migration to the Binance Smart Chain was quite of a letdown. So perhaps one point of optimism could be, are there already developers or projects from the Binance Smart Chain community showing interest to building on the Effect network? And if so, could you shed some light on what type of developers and projects those are?
Hey, Mikael. Thanks. Thanks for the question. So, yeah, you're right that the launch of the bridge, it was highly anticipated, and it didn't really do as much as everyone hoped it would. But to focus in on this question, so if any developers have reached out or have built upon Effect Network, they haven't. Like there hasn't been like a big initiative yet, or anyone like approaching us with a proposal of that sort. Mainly also because like the bridge initially was meant for a way for the workforce and also for like general community members to access the Binance Smart Chain economy, like the ecosystem, the DeFi applications, the wallets, and it wasn't like the technology isn't there yet for Binance Smart Chain developers to start building on Effect Network. Like it's only that our token is there, which means that our token can be used within, for example, PancakeSwap and different applications. Of course, we only have PancakeSwap at the moment, so we should definitely expand and make more use cases for EFX on Binance Smart Chain. But yeah, for like the other way around, developers on Binance Smart Chain making stuff on Effect Network, it's just not really possible yet because Effect Force is still on EOS. So you would still need to be an EOS developer to build stuff. So this is what we want to do, of course, and we're building the rest of Effect Network in an open source way that also is capable with Binance Smart Chain interactions. So in the future, this is what we want to achieve. But at the moment, there is no example that like no developers have started yet because it's not really open yet for Binance Smart Chain developers.
How does this timeline-wise fit in with the upcoming SDK? Is this a parallel release, or would that take some more time for Binance Smart Chain, or then actually Solidity developers to build on top of then?
No, this goes hand in hand. So when the SDK is there, even before, like when we have a testnet and when the next infrastructure of Effect Force is ready, it means that either EOS or Binance Smart Chain developers can interact with Effect Network, which means creating campaigns, adding tasks to campaigns, managing the results coming back. All that stuff will be possible from both chains. So with the SDK, this comes at the same time. So with the hackathon, definitely we can also support Binance Smart Chain developers and also encourage that, of course. I think it will be really cool to have a couple of signature projects participating. It goes hand in hand.
Cool. Then regarding the PancakeSwap and liquidity pool part of the discussion, the DAO recently proposed to use funds from the DAO treasury for a reward program for liquidity providers on PancakeSwap. How does this relate to PancakeSwap yield farming on PancakeSwap itself in the form of, for example, a zero pool or maybe a yield farm?
So we've discussed this before, of course, to go a little bit more into that. So of course, it would be great for Effect Network if there was a zero pool and yield farming possibility on PancakeSwap. The DAO has been actively chatting about it. There's been great proposals on how we could achieve this. I think in the first steps are definitely to build a more healthy pool and ecosystem on Binance Smart Chain, so there is more liquidity and we just have a more healthy ecosystem there. So that's what the proposals also try to achieve, to get this incentive for people to provide liquidity on PancakeSwap, and maybe even different DeFi projects on Binance Smart Chain. So these are the first steps. Of course, in the end, all the greatest liquidity and the greatest exposure is achieved with going on the zero pool from PancakeSwap, which is, of course, something we've also discussed in DAO calls, the steps to achieve this. So it's an active topic, but I think the proposals that are currently being shaped in EffectDAO are the right path to get there.
Yeah, regarding the zero pool, do we have an insight what it would take, or actually maybe what it would cost to have a zero pool on PancakeSwap?
So what I've heard is like I've heard people talking with Binance Smart Chain and PancakeSwap about getting a zero pool, and yeah, that it's just a very, very strict procedure in getting selected, right? They're very selective. There's just only a few projects getting into that zero pool yield farming section, and yeah, there's many applicants. So you need to be very attractive as a project for them to list you. So I think that it's not about price or cost or whatever. It's about how attractive we are as a project for PancakeSwap to get listed. And yeah, I think we have a lot going for Effect Network. We're a pretty unique project. We've got very active participants. We're developing really cool technology. We're doing something different than most projects. So I think that there's a lot of value there. But like you said before, on Binance Smart Chain, at the moment, we don't have a real healthy token ecosystem. So that I think those are the steps we have to take to get there. Which is definitely achievable, and I think proposals being discussed before are a good step in that direction. But that's what's currently on the table to be done to get listed.
I can just give a little bit of insights on this as well, because on my own initiatives I've been exploring, and all of what Jesse says is correct, except for like the price of entry and what's going on. It's been a mad world over there, and people were paying like legitimately millions. They were paying millions for the syrup pool. So if you go onto the syrup pool registration form, it asks like how much would you be willing to put, And it's really a money game for these guys right now, right? There's definitely community initiatives and that growth, and they're looking at those metrics and looking at those things. But there's a big thing that would be said about the cash that is involved as well. And so with that, it was really unfortunate because it was so popular at that time. But with crypto taking like a big crazy dump and things not being so popular and people not putting their neck on the line right now with Binance, with PancakeSwap, I'm very hopeful that the prices and the point of entries become a lot more easy. So now that we're in that ecosystem, that will definitely be there eventually because we're not going anywhere, and most of the crap that's there is. But it's incredibly expensive and it's incredibly hard, and there's 700 people in line. So it was something we didn't expect, and So, but we'll get there. And Mikkel, like you said, there's lots of options, for this stuff right now. So we'll figure it out. But Singapore is the big time.
Mikkel, do you have anything further to add to that?
Yeah, I do have two more things to add. One is I have been told that getting into a zero pool could cost approximately $300,000. So, did we try to get listed on PancakeSwap for a $300,000 worth of EFX? Yes or no?
500,000, and it's not EFX. But yeah, 500,000 was the number, and it wasn't. It's not that that's not big enough or whatever. I don't know what the criteria is, right? I think that there also is something to be said for being in bed with these guys, right? Meaning, that there's some kind of bigger connection. You're connected to a few different people. Probably one of the if we go back to 2017, the amount of partnerships that we could have had that we felt wouldn't really be that valuable might be those partnerships that will get you to the front of the line on stuff like this. But
And what was your
it was
next
attempted.
point, Michael?
Sorry?
And what was your next part, Mikhail?
Yeah, the next part was about the liquidity competition itself. What is it scheduled for? When will it happen? That's the primary question now, because the DAO is working on it, and Jesse and I also had been working on it. But I guess the question now is, will the liquidity competition still be announced, and when? What timeline can we be expected that it will go live?
Yeah, like you said, we've been discussing like the details within the DAO and especially you and me in regards to that proposal. But I think it's getting really clear how the competition would look, right? It would require a smart contract that sort of distributes the rewards for people that provide LP for certain amounts of time and whatever. It's a bit of a complicated smart contract setup, but there's lots of templates and examples out there. And so technically what we've kind of figured out is the best way to go is if we host our own smart contract to keep track of this reward system and to distribute EFX rewards, probably coming from the DAO to LP providers. And yeah, to get back to the question, like a specific date, I don't have one right now. So like rough timelines would be like to have like, of course we have a lot of development to do, right? We're building the SDK, we're building more smart contracts, the DAO is getting expanded, there's a lot happening technically, and this one is another like technical element we have to sort of prioritize. But we do want to make this happen really soon. So Binance Smart Chain is a great ecosystem to be part of, and we're not at the place we want to be, so it's extremely important we get this sorted. And timeline wise, I can only give you some rough broad strokes of when we want to get there. And I think by the end of July is when we're looking to actively develop this system, and we should have like by that time also a date to announce and the details to announce of how and what this looks like. We don't want to throw this out too soon, of course. We want to make sure that once we start talking about it and really just putting out the details, then it should also be quite soon when this actually gets released.
Okay, thank you. Then maybe it's also a small bridge to a part which Jehuda will talk about later. But one of the things happening is that the community gets dumped on many times by EFX swappers from Neo and from exchanges, and God knows what all the sources of the dumping is. But could it be a risk if we provide liquidity on PancakeSwap, or actually incentivize people to provide liquidity on PancakeSwap with DAO funds, that this pool will just be used to dump on? Because the PancakeSwap pools, they do not work with an order book, so it is like an unlimited pool to dump on by people looking to get rid of their EFX. Do you see any problems there? 1, 2, can we mitigate? And 3, but Jehuda will touch upon that later. Where is all the EFX coming from that people want to get rid of?
So I can touch a little bit on that. I don't know exactly where these dumps come from. I think they're from holders that have been there for quite some time, and but there are a couple of ex-team members that have access to team tokens that are using the swap portal. Whether they're dumping or not dumping, I'm not too sure, but it's not like significant amounts. It's embarrassing that even a little amount will move the EFX market, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, we need to build that up. So I don't think there's any big major holders except for Jesse. And you'll never understand how much and where his stuff is, but he's not dumping. The guy won't stop buying. I also have quite reserves and have no interest in using anything to cash out of this. So yeah, I'm not too sure where or how these people would exist. And yeah, I think the only thing that matters is getting the word out of what we're doing and creating new community members to spread this word within their communities to build more, desire to buy into the project and the token. And I think that
Sure.
Pancake's
Yeah,
great.
sure. But is there a measure in place to prevent people from dumping into the liquidity pool instead of in the order books on the exchanges? Because it's like an undrainable source of liquidity, right? There's no one preventing you from selling into a liquidity pool, whereas on the order book, there's just, if there's nobody to buy, there's nobody to buy, right? So
Right. Yeah. What do you put in place there? Is there something to put in place there?
Affect anything, of course, but you can. I mean, I've, in my opinion, a liquidity pool is also like if you have just a strong liquidity pool, it means you have a stronger market. It's more of people will dump at some point, and people need, I don't know, maybe they're desperate for cash or whatever. People will dump and sell their tokens at some point. You've seen this happen. I also don't know where that comes from, but if this happens, I feel that a liquidity pool might actually help, and having a bigger liquidity pool helps better in keeping more stability and more safety for traders as well. And I think that I think dumping in like a regular exchange with an order book is quite can be quite dangerous, where like a big liquidity pool could be actually more secure and stable.
yeah, I do agree. If the pool is big enough, then that shouldn't really be an issue. So speaking of rewards, aside from the upcoming incentivized reward program, people find it hard to actually determine what the exact rewards are you are actually entitled to as a guardian or as a DAO member. I should maybe even say anyone in the DAO. So we have the 30% of the leftover cycle budget, which we get as if of course you participate in all the voting. Then we had some Guardian fees, Genesis fees being distributed, but perhaps you could shine a light on all the what are all the streams where the rewards are actually coming from, and if something changed in those streams, and also what still has to be paid, and perhaps even when, if there's already a date.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is a very important topic. It's been discussed a lot because it's so important, especially for guardians, DAO members that are participating. I mean, in the end, this is a very essential piece of the DAO, how fees get collected and where they go. And of course, like the most important fee collection mechanism are the network fees, and will become the network fees. So at the moment we have, like you said, the 30% cycle leftover budget, which is being distributed to the guardians. It's currently the majority of the fee pool, which of course it's nice for guardians to get that, but it's not what the network is meant to be doing. So one of the most important releases that will be done, hopefully before the SDK is released even, is to have these network fees being collected automatically. We've had the phase 0 network fees being airdropped to the Genesis guardians, but the ongoing fees are not yet automatically collected, and that's the main part that still misses, is the automatic collection of network fees. So there will be a mechanism announced soon on how these like 2021 network fees will be distributed, and then by Q4 we will have the automatic collection of fees. So those are the two most exciting, I think, updates. So first of all, there will be like quite a significant distribution of the fees collected in 2021, and then there will be the technical update, so that any transaction on Effect Network will generate fees in the fee pool of the DAO. And both of these, like the Q1, Q2, Q3 fees, they will be distributed at the end of or in Q3. That's for sure. So we'll just have to figure out an exact date and figure out like the mechanism, build the software to sort of calculate and like we did last time, we built like an open source airdrop script that sort of managed to snapshot the EOS blockchain and calculate the exact distribution of fees and distribute that to the right guardians. We'll generate a similar program that's auditable and visible to everyone. And the programming of the automatic fee collection, will be released before the SDK, but that date is also still to be announced.
Okay, thank you. And is there also a way for people regarding transparency to see how much network fees are actually generated on the Effect network?
At the moment, the only way to see that is to look at all the transactions. So there's at the moment only one requester account actively being used. So you could monitor that requester account and see the total amount transacted, and that way you can calculate the number of fees. That's also how we will calculate the number of fees to be paid, by the way, looking at the blockchain and those transactions. But of course, the most, the coolest update will be when within the network framework, this fee is baked in. And then there will be like all kinds of cool statistics we can show in the dashboard as well, because there will be this live generation of fees. Every second or every transaction, there will be some fees added. So you can have this really cool graph of how this adds up. But yeah, transparency is important. And currently it's auditable because it's on the blockchain, but it's not yet in our tooling or in the core smart contracts.
Okay. Perhaps, Alex, would you like to ask something on proposal 17?
Yeah, there were some questions on whether EFX was deflationary, and I thought this also is related to the network fee. So that proposal was basically allowing the DAO to turn on a toggle that would earn 50% of the network fees instead of just distributing all of them. And I was wondering if that will be paired with the implementation of the network fee, or is it something that will happen afterwards, or something maybe the community has to do? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so good. I think proposal 17 is a really good proposal. It's sort of it's about the what happens with the collected fees and how are they, like, is it possible to burn part of the collected fees instead of distributing them, which would mean tokens get burned, so it's deflationary, more tokens get out of circulation. The proposal passed. It hasn't been developed yet. That's mainly because there's just no the priority of the ticket. There's no time spent on it yet, but I mean it will at some point get developed for sure, because it's even in the technical design of the DAO to have a more advanced strategy for fee distribution. It shouldn't all go to guardians, but if we look a bit into the future and hopefully we will get a large amount of fees coming in by network fees, and then it gets really interesting to what happens. At some point, hopefully, it's just too much to distribute, and at that point, I think it's necessary to either burn a lot of tokens or send them back to the treasury to get a more nicer, stable ecosystem. But that's one way to make this deflationary, and of course, there's more ways to make a deflationary token. I think any token with a fixed supply by itself will be deflationary, as tokens get lost, they get out of circulation. Somehow people lose their private keys, lose their wallets. So over the longer period of time, it's tokens get lost. But of course, there's mechanisms in tokenomics you can apply, and proposal 2017 is one of them. I think it's been endorsed by the DAO, and it's clear what it means. It's clear how it fits into the DAO. So it's just a matter of programming capacity, developers contributing to be able to get it done.
Yeah, thanks. Regarding the DAO, one of the actors or the organizations within the DAO, I should say, is the High Guard, of which I am also a member. So I know quite some things about the High Guard. But unfortunately, not everyone in the community knows a lot of the High Guard. It has been chosen by the team, so it is not really a decentralized actor in the DAO yet. We know that in the future, the DAO has to pick up more governance and more responsibilities from the foundation and the team. So when or maybe what type of structure for the high guard are we going to put in place in the near future? Because people, I don't even think they know of whom the high guard consists. So perhaps we could have a small open discussion on how we are currently planning to restructure the high guard in the upcoming weeks or months.
Yeah, I think this is an awesome question, and I think it's time to shed a little bit of light on the High Guard. High Guard has a conversation once a week, just discussing certain subjects, especially the different proposals, whether approved or not approved. That High Guard function is in place to make sure that things that we have overseen, just to protect the DAO, the funds and different things actually going into effect. There's a lot of members of the High Guard that are not active, so there's definitely something there that needs to happen over the next few weeks to make sure that the High Guard members, that we have real good activity there. The activity of the High Guards that are active is great. It's an important part right now. And I think as we grow, if you look at a project like Polkadot also has a High Guard. And they'll have that in place for some time until things are worked out. These systems, we want to automate these systems like in a real decentralized way. So when somebody makes a proposal, it gets voted in, then it passes and that's it. And that's how it works. And there are some systems out there, but many of those systems that employed that have broke significantly. And so we just have this as a fallback to make sure that things are going well. I think that we need to make it a little bit more strong, but so do we on all of the aspects of the Effect Network. But the DAO is doing some incredibly great things. And I think that the High Guard has a significant place within that for the time being. Now, centralized, not decentralized, all of these subject matters that people do tend to chat about, it's there in almost every decentralized system. I think the most decentralized system is Bitcoin, and it works well, but there's elements of centralization within Bitcoin as well. And that's like the most active, most amazing DAO that has ever been built, and people don't even look at it as a DAO, but that's exactly what it is. There's things that when you have different variables like the Effect Network, then you have to put things into play. But there's restructuring there to do, especially for participation. And
Very good.
I hope
Very
that
good.
answers the question.
Very good. Thank you, Mikkel. I know your time is short and you'll be leaving us at any moment, so appreciate you being here. Now, a huge area of discussion and the subject of many debates has historically been about tokenomics. So I would like to shift over and bring in Jehuda and DJ Strikanova in to discuss these now. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Hi, good evening, good day to everyone. So we're going into the EFX token and the tokenomics, and I think this is asked a lot of times before, but you answered it a little bit, like how does the success of the Effect Network influence the price of the token?
So the question you were asking is how does the success of the Effect Network influence the price of the token? So how that would work is like, of course, price of the token, it's created by market supply and demand, and what people are buying and selling the token for. So the real purpose and the reason why EFX exists is to have this network operate and to have clients use the tokens in the platform to put on tasks and to get work done and services done, and to have that rewarded to the people that perform those services, and that's basically the sort of the dynamic that's going on. So what you will get if, like, at the moment 10 becomes extremely successful. So let's just look at what success would mean, right? It would mean that we're going to have an incredible amount of tasks being done. It means that maybe every big government and big corporate in the world starts using the Effect network right now. It would require an incredible amount of EFX to do like millions of tasks a day on the platform, right? So then that would be a massive success, and companies would suddenly need millions of EFX daily to perform in day-to-day operation. What that means is they need to get a EFX from somewhere, so that there's a huge demand for EFX, and the supply would be not super big because there's just not much trading and liquidity going on. It's not like you can get your hands on that amount easily. So it would put a huge demand on the token. And then, of course, those fees will be paid out to workers and services, and partly to network fees, and similar, like the tokenomics there would come into play. But yeah, initially there would be a incredible shortage. After a while, a lot of workers will start earning tokens. They might sell them on the market, so they can sell them back to requesters and they can buy them again, and that would create a lot of liquidity as well. But they can also hold them or stake them to participate in the DAO. So it's not like all of the tokens being distributed by requesters go back onto the market. So sort of the supply demand mechanisms of Effect Network means that, yeah, when there's like as long as success keeps growing, there will be demand growing for the token, right? So that's how the price is influenced by success of the network. The way I see it. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, and I also think it was touched upon proposal of 17 that when Effect gets more successful, that deflationary model can take place. So probably that's also a bit of growing in value per EFX. But that was also already asked by DJ Strikanova. Just to emphasize it a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. And I think deflationary mechanisms, we don't have any mechanisms in the token, but like I said, in my opinion, like any fixed supply token is sort of deflationary as tokens get lost. That's what happens. I mean, in a migration like from Neo, a lot of tokens get sort of lost because people just don't migrate, and also in day-to-day operations, people lose tokens, and that's sort of what also. But yeah, there can be mechanisms in the token, like Proposal 17 as well, that are deflationary. So yeah, that I think it plays a role in Effect Network, and yeah, it's cool to see proposals like that being developed, and I think there's a lot of potential and room as well for those types of tokenomics to be discussed and implemented by the DAO.
Okay. And this is also a bit about changing tokenomics, and you answered it with the proposal 22. The proposal 22, the implementation of it, changes the tokenomics. But is the DAO able to change the tokenomics in the future in a different way? Because you answered it that the DAO will be able to adjust it, but there will always be a need for team interference, or will it be able to really get changed by the DAO, how the tokenomics are handled?
Yeah, I really like this question. I think it touches on an important point, like what the DAO is capable of and how it can make these changes. I actually wrote a blog post last week about the DAO and currently what it can do, and also what it will be able to in the future, which really overlaps with this question as well, which basically is that at the moment the DAO is created out of smart contracts. So there are like five or six, I think that's the total thing, but like the DAO itself are like 3 smart contracts, and these smart contracts kind of define how fees are collected, how proposals are created, and how votes are done, and how these fees are distributed. And what the DAO can do is change the settings of these smart contracts. So the DAO can, for example, change how much of the tokens go to the fee pool and how much go back to the treasury after every cycle. And the DAO will also be able to adjust, for example, how many tokens get burned, that proposal 17, from the fee pool. So these are like settings that the DAO can adjust and make changes to. And they will be able to do that autonomously. So there is no interference needed, because that logic is within the smart contract. So people can actually vote and make these changes as guardians. So that's the real cool autonomous part. And then there's, of course, these changes that people want and that the DAO wants and that are necessary to grow into the future, that are not within the sort of parameters of the DAO configuration. Like if you want a total new model, or if you want to do something deflationary at a different place within the tokenomics, which means that like the smart contract has to be changed. At the moment, like the one controlling smart contract updates is the Effect Network Foundation, which means that basically they have to sign off on real smart contract changes. But I also go into more depth on this in the blog post. In the end, what we are creating and where it's going is that the DAO will also be able to author these smart contract changes, which means that fee collection and any type of tokenomics that need to be implemented in smart contracts can also be authored by the DAO and approved by the DAO. So that's where we're going. So yeah, at the moment, you need to have Effect Network Foundation to deploy new smart contracts. So it needs to have this approval, but going forward, and I think it's quite like within a year or so, the DAO should be able to operate that entire scope and also be able to author these smart contracts.
So you're saying right now that when someone proposes changes to the parameters that are given in the smart contracts, it is just all possible through the DAO and the proposal itself.
Yeah, that's right. So with exception, for example, proposal 17, it's not yet in the smart contract, so there is no burning mechanism. So that means it needs programming to do. But it's sort of, yeah, it's been approved, and it's also in the design of the DAO. The DAO is still pretty young, but once proposal 17 is implemented, that's a parameter that can be voted on by guardians, and it doesn't need any other influence, outside influence.
Okay, thank you. And then there's the bridge to BSC, and someone asked about also bridging to Ethereum, and you've answered that there's, well, a migration is far from trivial at this point. Do you think it's valuable to just hire someone that can make this bridge without even migrating, but just to make EFX available on Ethereum?
Yeah, interesting suggestion. So going to Ethereum, yeah, with the layer 2 solutions out there, I think we're really close. Also with Ethereum 2 around the corner, hopefully. We're really close to having a Ethereum where you can have dApps and affordable dApps like Effect Force operate. So that's really exciting, and I think we're getting there, but at this moment it's just not there yet, right? We need all these smart minds and these smart layer 2 solutions to come together and sort of mature, and yeah, it's exciting, it's really close, but it's not there yet. So at the moment, that move is not, in my opinion, not yet feasible. Of course, there's like, it's feasible to do a move like just bridging the token. That's something we could do. I think we have to learn also from the current Binance Smart Chain move, where things are still a bit they're not like on fire. It needs more work and more love and more input and more liquidity and more community effort and team effort to make that a success. So I'm a bit reluctant when let's move over to ETH, like that idea. I like the idea, but I think in practice it needs more attention, more left than just doing it. If we're going to make this an official thing, right? Anyone can make a bridge and make an ETH wrap token on of EFX. So, but yeah, in my opinion, it needs more a bit more thought, and also it needs investment and time wise and fund wise to do something successfully there.
Okay, thank you. Then there's a bit about the market maker, and this is in two sections. It's in the token section and in the swap section. So I'll try to complement these two together. There's a bit of a struggle with the liquidity and the token attention, and we're wondering if you can share who the market maker is. That's the first follow-up question I have.
I can throw down here a little bit. I don't think we'll release who the market makers are, but we've gone through quite a few. When we first started, there was a market making company, the most popular of them all, called GSR. They were charging 175 grand a month. So that was crazy to us, and still will always be absolutely mental to us. And this is something that also legally we couldn't participate in. So we knew the prices, and through third-party people who were kind of setting these things up, we explored deeply. We decided to set up some stuff, and things have been an incredible struggle here. And it's something that we're continuously working on and exploring and looking into and figuring out. It's highly complex. Like when people think about market making, they have no clue exactly what's involved there. There's a lot of coordination of a lot of different aspects that need to come together. And when you have a team like us, and we're building products and we're building real tech, it's not a team of cryptocurrency guys that are trying to pump and dump, tokens. We're building real things. And so it's been a difficult thing for us to manage and figure out. The people that are employed on the token right now are satisfactory, but we feel it's not doing us too much justice. But it's a hard point for us, and we know it's an issue, and we're continuously and constantly talking and trying to figure out exactly how to make things better there.
Yeah, so the follow-up question also touches a bit on that point. How do you review the market maker?
Yeah, it looks to be horrendous, right? So people are going to say, like, do you think they're doing the worst job? It's like I said, it's not just them, right? It's us. It's market conditions. It's the past. It's the potential future. There's a lot of elements in play every single day here, and we haven't done our best work there. So I'll be the first to admit it. We haven't done our best work there. We ignored it from the very beginning, and it wasn't until recently, 8-9 months ago, that we realized that this is a really important thing, and we're still learning, and we're still trying to figure out. We'll get there. We'll understand it, and we'll know it. To give a scoring to the market makers right now is absolutely impossible, and I will. Yeah, that's the best I can do. There's room for improvement there in a pretty major way across the board. I'm not suggesting just the market maker, but all of the things in coordination with each other and how that whole entire system works. It's a lot crazier than most will think. But it's also, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, so it's just hard to materialize what's really the thing that it struggles with.
I can tell you all of the aspects of market making, I can tell you about liquidity provisions, putting up buys and sells and structuring those out and leveling those in icebergs and, hidden sell walls, hidden buy walls, all of these types of stuff. we know them inside and out. And our major objective is to build the Effect Network to be the best thing in the world. And we understand that the token has an incredible, huge place in the growth of the project. And it's something we've ignored for the last few years because we just wanted to build great things. And so we've been slightly naive on that, but we're not any longer, but we're playing a little bit of catch up. So there's a lot of different things there, but related to market making, there's also a bunch of different levels that need to kind of coordinate to make things happen properly. Yeah, it's tough and it's hard, and we're learning as we go along. But committed to making stuff happen.
Okay. There was someone also, and well, while we're on the subject of the actions of the market maker, there was someone that really investigated some accounts and what they did during the pump of around February, March. There were some accounts created, and about 3.5 million EFX was swapped to these accounts, and they were sent to Qcoin. Can you explain a bit more what happened exactly during this time and why they needed these amounts?
Yeah, this goes exactly with what I was just saying previously. We have market makers in place, not just one, but a couple. They also advise on all kinds of different aspects to our third-party entities, and then there's a bunch of communication going on all of the time. Through the past, as you guys have seen, we have pretty ugly charts because of people, people obviously buying in incredible furies, whether it be Ivan on Tech, secret little gems thing or whatever. There's also it's such a complicated and crazy ecosystem. There's these pump and dump teams that have come to almost every project offering lots of money. So we were offered 50 Bitcoin for an OTC trade. As you guys know, and everybody else knows, we don't sell EFX to fund the project, and we don't do OTC deals. We just don't do it. Every other project, I feel, maybe a few don't, but most do. We're just not into that. It's disgusting, and it feels really, really gross. But we were offered these things, so we were obviously a target. So there was definitely teams and people buying up, and there were pump and dump things that were going on. With our new market makers, what transpired was a lot of communication and them explaining how these things work. And when things started to pump crazily, they said, listen, exactly what we just suggested happened before or is happening again. And if we don't have the funds enough to mitigate this, then you're going to go up to the most ridiculous price and then crash down harder than ever. And it's going to be the worst than ever. So market making is based on both sides, selling and buying, and to mitigate too much of the buy pressure or too much of the sell pressure. That's where market makers come in and play. We trusted and believed in our market makers, and we still do in these time frames. And when there are requests and needs for these types of things, then we're communicating with several different members of that process to put things in place. So those things were in place just to make sure that things didn't get super out of hand. We believe full-heartedly that those things were managed very, very well and protected us from some actors. And yeah, that's as much as the story is that we can give on that front. But it's really important to try to do this properly and in the best interest of all of the holders and mitigate damages from bad actors. And there's so many out there on so many levels. Yeah, it's hard to keep up, but that's what that was about. So yeah, there was additional funds to stop an incredible pump from happening. And then those funds were there to protect the downside as well. So that's kind of how market making works, and that's how these teams have worked. And through the communications of our teams, that's what's happened.
Okay, thank you. I hope that's okay, an okayish answer for the community, because there was a lot of hectic about this one. Maybe also just offered as an idea. Have you considered trading competitions to increase liquidity, just like a competition for liquidity pools, but just trading on KuCoin? I see them happening once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, of course we have, and those things don't do anything for anybody. It's so what happens? Okay, let me explain. So there's so much stuff that you guys don't even have a clue, like so much. So this is how it works. Those trading competitions are for KuCoin. KuCoin deploys a bunch of bots in every exchange, so it's not just them. And then KuCoin wins the competition. They take all of the effects and they're first place, second place, third place. You can't beat them. It's impossible. You cannot beat them. No competition has ever been won by a member, ever, ever, ever. They've always been won by the exchange. And I'll go out there in public and say it. Yeah, I can't prove it, but they won't ever be able to prove differently, ever, I promise. And so they're useless. It's just stealing the effects, and they're going to end up selling that on the open market anyway. So, of course, it's stuff we've thought about. It looks good in practice, and to everybody in the world saying, you got to do this, you got to do that. Well, we've done them in the past. It doesn't work. For the long term, it's the most devastating thing you can do. So, of course, we think about these competitions, but yeah, KuCoin's there to make money, and they do a good job at it. So there's all kinds of other things that we should be doing and could be doing that are healthy and real. Trading competitions are an incredible scam across the board. 100%. Don't participate. You'll never win. There's nothing you can do, and it's not healthy for the project. Short term, it might be, because the exchange can also help pump stuff to make it look like it was good and to convince the team to do many more of them. It will end up not in the right place.
Okay, Jehuda, do you have any more to further question Chris about in regards to the trading competitions? Or are we ready to perhaps move on to a few tokenomics questions before we go over to Anna and Bree again?
I was just about to start the questions about the ICO and the funds.
Okay.
Yes? So these funds were collected, and it was a bit of a combination of questions about who controls the funds, how have they been managed, and how have they been used. And the answer was the foundation is managing the funds, and the funds have been used to build Effect Network. This is very broad, very general. And we get that maybe the BV Effect AI BV is more private, but can you tell us why is the foundation so secretive about their funds, about their way of spending?
I don't think that it's secretive, but it's the same thing with like trading competitions and all the deeper parts of doing business and being involved. We're a company and a foundation that has set our minds on building this product, and we do it day in and day out. The funds were collected during the ITO, the initial token offering, and those went into the foundation. It was run through the foundation. It was done with 100% KYC. It was done structured the best that we could have done with PwC and different law firms in the Netherlands and abroad. And yeah, we raised those funds. We built the foundation, and what the foundation is there to do is to fund the initiatives to build the Effect Network, and that's what it's always done, and that's what it will always do. Luckily for the Effect.ai BV, which is the operational company that's building this out, it's very much like Ethereum. We studied all of this stuff while we were setting it up. But the main objective of the operational one is to build out this network, and it's funded from those funds. So there's no secrets there. It's just yeah, we're not going to disclose all of the financials, nor has any other project. And if they did, then good on them. That's fine. But like we're incredibly busy, and that aspect is crazy. Now, listen. Also, not trying to hide the fact that we burned through a lot of money that we shouldn't have burned through. Again, like everything in the world, there's been a lot of learning curves and a lot of stuff. We had 20 members of the EffectDAO team right out of the ICO. Yeah, a lot of those members of the team did not work out, and that caused us to burn through a lot of cash and a lot of money over a certain period of time. And those are mistakes that that we learn from and we grow from and we keep on moving forward. Me, Jesse, and Lawrence will always still be here building companies. We've done lots of great hires this year, the right hires, the right people, and we'll continue to grow that. So it's, there's no secret there. We raised some money. We're building the Effect Network. That's what's going to happen, and we'll continue to happen.
Okay, so maybe just an idea, and if it's possible, but I don't know. You already said that you wouldn't disclose too much financial information, but could it be like a possibility to have like a rough pie chart of which funds are in the foundation for the DAO members? That's a bit up to date, and maybe also general indication how much is spent for different sections like marketing, partnerships, development, exchanges, and etc.
Yeah, that's totally a potential. Are you talking about like from the beginning of time? Like beginning of the 2018 token sale, like from then on, like just full transparency all the way backwards, or?
Well, it can be very roughly a rough estimate. So what you spent on different kind of aspects.
Perhaps to establish a trajectory, like how much in funds were available since ICO and how much are available now, so we can kind of extrapolate, if the foundation, has enough to continue on.
Well, I promise you that the foundation, the team, and the whole thing has enough to carry on forever. We're self-sustaining right now, especially with the operational BV. All of that money sunk into development outside of the foundation. And that was the key goal for us, me, Jesse, and Lawrence, to make sure that, especially for Lawrence, to make sure that there's a sustainable business model here to ensure the future of where we're going and what we're doing. So that's definitely there, and certainly those things can be in place.
BV, as you said, is your private company, so we can't expect it to sustain the foundation. So the foundation has to have its own reserves, right?
Yeah, that's totally true, and we can definitely do. Yeah, our reserves will always. Any kind of cash flow positive stuff that's being produced with the BV will always go into development for the Effect Foundation. And of course, like you said, that can't be expected forever. But the Effect Foundation will always be at the heart of what we're doing and has the funds going forward. So we can certainly put that together. We were well funded in 2018. And people are very aware of that, and so we can certainly put together something like that. But I understand the cause of concern. A lot of projects folded, a lot of projects, wrapped up shop and ran away. But we're here doing our thing. We can put together something.
Okay, so I think the takeaway we can get from this part is members of the community has voiced some of what they would like to see in a chart, and the team is open to exploring that and looking at getting that information to the community, correct?
That's more than correct. I think a lot of community members that were here at the beginning heard me talk about like being the first project to like fully disclose all financials of everything that we do. I quickly realized that that was not only a horrible idea because I didn't even understand some of the things that had to go into this to scale and to build and to do this. But I understand it fully and completely. It shouldn't be a cause for concern, but it obviously is, and I understand it. So yeah, we need to put something into play, and totally open with, especially members of the DAO and members that are speaking today, like DJ Strekanova and Jehuda, to really look at how to formulate this, because we've always done that, right? Token maps and everything else, where are all the tokens? They're all accounted for. They're all there. We've never sold them off. We're not playing any silly games. I can promise you that Jesse, Lawrence, and Chris have not sold one team token, even though those came to be recently. I haven't even swapped one of my tokens. But yeah, anyways, I get it. Yeah.
Okay,
We'll
perfect.
build something up.
If Jehuda is done, I think we can go on.
Sorry, I should go on with my questions?
Or if you're done, then we can move along too as well.
Well, I hope this is a short answer.
Okay.
And it's the last about these funds. Because why did you... Well, in an answer you say they were stored on exchanges. Are they like long-term stored on exchanges, and why do you use exchanges for this?
Yeah, that's a good question. But they're stored on exchanges, especially our corporate exchanges, to fund the project, to be there ready to fund. So yeah, when there's proposals for budgets, that they're able to, we're able to tap into those. Because you have the foundation, then we have all kinds of different entities that are building the Effect network, obviously at the core of that, the Effect.ai BV. And then we request funding. And so then, that's why that is. It's there to fund the projects. And that's all accounted for. Every single budget is accounted for.
But not all the funds are on exchanges, just the funds you maybe need quickly.
Yeah, there's a bunch in cold storage, and a huge amount, but there's also a nice chunk of that are on the exchanges that we use.
So to clarify, you have cryptocurrency reserves that you use to convert into the fiat to pay for services and stuff like that.
Yeah, to pay for expensive Dutch employees.
And also, of course, it's in exchanges to sort of, you don't want to keep it all in Neo. That would be silly and a bad idea, like especially in hindsight. So you need to, it needs to be movable, and it was diversified to multiple funds, of course, by the foundation. So that's of course necessary, and to be usable, it needs to be there as well. So.
And it's also scary business for us to leave it in fiat currencies and bank accounts. There's been some crazy things that have happened to us and other cryptocurrency companies. We just don't trust it. So it's in crypto for a reason. There's a small reserve in cash from the foundation, but that's way more risky than cryptocurrencies have ever been. Any government or any bank can crack down on that. So it's pretty sophisticated, and I give a lot of credit to Jesse and Lawrence for managing all of this stuff and putting it together, because it's really complex. We have great partners and stuff like that, but it's complicated.
Then I have 2 more questions about the swap, and I hope they will be quick, because there were given out a lot of swap codes, and I think a lot of the Neo EFX has been swapped to EOS already, but I don't know if you recorded how many swap codes you gave out for how many EFX, and do you also record how many have been swapped? And you can subtract that from each other and then find out how many still are on Neo that are going to be swapped.
So Lawrence had his vaccination today, so he couldn't be with us, but he has the exact numbers, and of course this is on the blockchain. So Jehuda, I understand that you're not asking all of these questions personally yourself, but everything is on the blockchain. It's impossible to get around. So we know exactly how many swap codes we've given out, but in conjunction with those swap codes, the blockchain tracks perfectly how many people have swapped from Neo to EOS over the course of time. And then you can, it's obviously a tiny bit complicated, but if you're a data scientist, it's not impossible to look at how many swaps in which number of swaps over how many weeks. But yeah, we have all of those numbers. I don't know if Jesse knows exact numbers of what's left on Neo, but whatever's there is going to stay there.
I don't know by the top of my, no, I don't have it in my mind, but of course, yeah, you can. And I think, so it will be less, right? Swap is closing, will be less and less over weeks and weeks. And you can just look at the numbers on the blockchain and it will be less. I mean, we don't know all the numbers in our heads, but yeah, like Chris said, you can see it on the blockchain. It's slowing down quite steadily, so less and less tokens. So you can make some, I mean, this is not like 100% sure. You can just look at the lines and it will be less, and you can make your own estimates on how much is left.
There will be a considerable amount left on Neo, much more than I could have ever imagined. A lot of crypto kids that aren't paying attention to what they did. But yeah.
Okay, so if these numbers are available, is it possible that you share them instead of someone searching through the blockchain trying to get it?
Yeah, I think that that's absolutely zero problems. There's nothing at all to hide there. That's for sure. So yeah, we'll talk to Lawrence after this and make that one of the small priorities, because that's nothing for Lawrence to quickly say. And trust me, the swap codes are driving him insane. He can tell you exactly how many of those are and what's been swapped, and yeah, what's left over and what will be left over. So maybe give it a few more weeks because obviously the swap thing was closed and it's done, right? So only people that have codes with amounts that you would swap over periods of time are out there. So it's only going to decline. And yeah, within the next few weeks, those numbers can be out there. I think that's a fun number for the community to kind of see and understand.
Yeah, it would be fun to see some statistics of how much have been swapped and maybe how it declined. I don't know.
I agree. I would also like to see that. I've obviously been very actively involved, but I don't know them either, and I would love to see them. So if I get to see them, then everybody gets to see them. We just got to get Lawrence to put that little pie chart together.
Okay, and then about the team tokens, also the swaps are ongoing there. Can you give a bit of openness about how many team tokens still need to be swapped?
I don't have a clue. I haven't swapped any of my team tokens. I don't know. I can't answer this question. Again, Lawrence is the guy with these answers, like really understanding who's been swapping, how much has been swapped. But yeah, I don't know.
You mentioned earlier that there are ex-team members, right? That also got the team tokens, and some of them have sold. Will you be able to also provide those numbers as well?
We don't know who sells. There's no knowing who sells, right? Unless they do it through new decks or something. If you send tokens to KuCoin, we don't know if you've sold or not sold. But yeah, of course, those numbers.
Yeah, perhaps how much of the team tokens are now X team, I guess, and how many are active, still employed?
Yeah. Well, yeah, sure. We can come out with those numbers. It's really little for the ex team members compared to team members, because me, Jesse, and Lawrence are basically have always been the team, and everybody outside of that, us involved. So it's not major, but of course we can figure out how to get that out.
Yeah, that would be great to have all those numbers. I think that was about it for my questions.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for that. I know that was a big popular section for the community to go through and hear. And moving on, now that we are 15 minutes away from 2 hours.
Hey, I'd just like to say thanks to Jehuda for everything that he does. He's been part of this from the very first days of the project. So we talk about me not seeing and being with my family. He's given me more time with my family than anybody else on the planet. So Jehuda, I appreciate you. I know the community appreciates you. So thanks, man.
Yes, thank you. No problem.
Yeah, that's a pretty popular sentiment with the community, I think, as well. Now, circling back, I'm gonna bring Anna into the conversation, and her and Bree can start going over the worker and requester topics.
Thank you, Rochelle. Hello, everyone. Good day. Chris, Jesse. So I'll try to be quick, but there are a lot of questions to cover. So starting with the questions related to workers. It's kind of known that most translators started earning through PayPal mainly to make the onboarding on the platform easier and faster because they are not familiar with crypto, most of them. So most of them already changed the payment method to EFX. But is there any plan to convert the remaining workers to EFX as well? Can you elaborate on this plan as to when and how it is going to be done and the deadline for converting the missing ones?
Jesse, would you like to weigh in on this one?
Oh, well, I was speaking, but I was still muted. Sorry. I said, hey, Anna, thanks. Yeah, good to meet again, and thanks for the question. You're absolutely right. So we started on with Effect Translate. A lot of the translators, or a lot, I think, yeah, a significant percentage were using PayPal. This was because we needed good translators, and we couldn't find them within the community fast enough to serve our clients. So as a business, you always have to be flexible and smart and be able to have happy customers. So it's something we had to do, and we still accommodated this within Effect Force. So what we built was so we still had the blockchain transactions going on and people earning some EFX, but we sort of abstracted away the EFX, and we had this payment mechanism that was happening with the BV and the workers to make sure they just receive the PayPal payment, and the BV gets back the EFX that the worker owned. So that was sort of the system we built. And as you said, this was something we needed out of urgency because the clients needed way more translators than we had on hand. So we've been scaling this down a lot already since the start. We've had like video tutorials and guides and to help people onboard onto EFX away from PayPal, and it was really successful. So at the moment, we only have a small percentage of translators still using PayPal. Nevertheless, these translators are still needed. Kraft Heinz is still ongoing. We're receiving more and more work there. So at the moment, we're not expanding on the PayPal payment workforce. We don't need to. We're really working hard on having everyone in the EFX payment section. It also makes our lives way easier because the amount of support and manual work involved with doing the PayPal payments is incredible. So we way rather have people use EffectForce and EFX. so our plans are to have basically within this year, but hopefully within the next 3 months, no more PayPal support for translators in the platform. That's the goal. And how we do this is because we're still providing these educational courses to translators on how to use EFX, how to potentially sell their EFX to fiat currencies that they need to earn. So yeah, this is like PayPal somehow it's a big topic within the community, but I think at the moment it's a very small section of workers that still do this, and the trouble it's causing us to accommodate is hardly worth it. So it's being phased out, and it's right now a very small section that still uses this.
Thank you, Jesse. You mentioned something about providing the option to swap EFX to fiat. Is there any plans? Are there any plans of providing these options to either convert to fiat or cryptocurrencies directly from the worker interface on EffectForce?
This would be it would be one of the most, like almost the most convenient thing, right? To be able to convert to fiat right from the dashboard. Perhaps the holy grail and the most convenient thing would be if you could spend your EFX directly on groceries and rent and that kind of stuff. So having a direct payment gateway using EFX. So both of these are things we're working on, and we're very excited about this, but we don't want to get out with these stories and promises if we're not sure yet it's gonna work out. But we're thinking, and we're working with some partners right now that can potentially make this happen. So both the fiat gateway and a direct payment mechanism. So it's what we would love to see, like being able to do some EffectForce work, and after that, you can buy some fruit in the market with your debit card. It's something we would love to. It fits the story of Effect Network very well, as well as just being able to get euros and use that to pay for rent and whatever. So yeah, this is I think one of these things that will happen within Effect Networks at some point, and I don't want to make too many promises right now on what's going on there.
Oh, sure. But I think that everyone is expecting that to come out anyways. Another, you mentioned that it would be nice that people would buy groceries and all, but it is a concern, the fluctuation of the price of EFX. And in that sense, is there an automated system that adjusts the compensation of tasks as the price of EFX fluctuates? And is there any plan or action to avoid it?
Great question. This was one of the questions that I think is one of the essential questions as well of Effect Network. It's been like a major question since the start. And yeah, this question becomes more and more of a problem the more we grow and the more work's happening on Effect Network. And at the moment, we're really starting to feel, especially the workers are starting to feel the pain or the benefits of having this fluctuating price. And I think on the long term, it's not favorable for the network to have a very volatile currency or volatile reward system attached to what workers are doing. So it needs to be solved. Then we need mechanics in place. Liquidity pools are, I think, a very important part. Having this payment gateway could be an important part. More liquidity means more stability, of course. So we need, like, there's many directions to attack this problem, and yeah, we haven't solved it yet. It's something we're actively thinking about, and I don't have like the solution right now. I think the fact that we're experiencing this problem like we're doing now means we're doing well, and it also means we need to be smart and start solving it. I'm convinced that it's a problem we can solve within Effect Network and solve in a beautiful way. So yeah, it's being worked on and discussed, and I think for workers right now, it's yeah, it's just it's a bit of an annoying part of being a worker, that you're not sure about the consistency of the earnings, because they can drop and raise. And also in how quick tasks are done. Often tasks are not getting done when the price drops, because suddenly tasks are worth less, and it's a problem for requesters. So this dynamic is important and being worked on.
Thank you for your answer. Yeah, I think that would be the holy grail as well, right? So, moving to the next question, it has something to do with payouts as well. Do you have an estimate number of how much a worker can earn per day in doing tests on EffectForce?
So this question, yeah, I don't have these numbers like at hand, so I don't have any statistics right now of like how much people are earning per day. At the moment, next to the price fluctuation of EFX, we also have like a large fluctuation of the number of tasks in different categories that are available, like translations. Sometimes there's a lot of them, and then there are workers making like serious income out of doing these translations. On other days, there's just no translation task out there for sometimes several days, and yeah, this is also an yeah. So this number also fluctuates. How much does a worker earn in a day? It's not consistent enough at the moment. So that's something we're working on. We've discussed it now several times. Having the SDK, having more requesters. We're looking to to scale this platform more horizontally instead of vertically. So having more requesters and making sure that we have a more consistent number of tasks coming in, instead of having like few requesters that sometimes have a lot of tasks and sometimes have no tasks. But that makes it very hard to give this number. Plus, I don't have like the statistics at hand, but yeah, it changes so much that it's hard to give you a good number anyways.
Of course. So, okay, moving on to the next question. Currently, workers earn EOS-based DFX. Will they have the option to earn BSC-based DFX? If so, what will that entail, and when can that be expected to happen? Also, will they be able to just provide a wallet address to receive their BSC-based DFX? And with this migration, will all workers need to migrate to BSC eventually, or there will still be the option to keep receiving in EOS DFX?
So this question really closely relates to the update of the EffectForce that's coming up. Workers will be able to earn either on EOS or on Binance Smart Chain. And we've come up with the tech team here with quite a beautiful solution to this. So it means that in essence, every task and every submission of a task is still recorded on one blockchain. That's where it's tracked. And people can use can use their Binance Smart Chain wallets to post proofs to that blockchain and get their earnings whenever they want. So the transaction fee is there, of course, which is higher. So you wouldn't expect workers to want to cash out every transaction on Binance Smart Chain, but their Binance Smart Chain account and private key is mathematically gives them ownership of their earnings on the other blockchain. So it's a really beautiful cross-chain technical solution that we're making, which basically makes it it makes it very seamless whether you're working on Binance Smart Chain or on EOS.
Thank you. And the last question in this workers subject. Some projects on Effect Socials are effective, such as World Token gave the possibility of paying part of the task value in their tokens. Also, some projects offer the bonus for high quality work. Can you give a date of when those are expected to be paid out?
So I can handle this one a little bit. So World Token is based on the Ethereum blockchain. A lot of the tasks that were accomplished there were not so plentiful. So the payouts were far less than the actual transaction costs it would take to get that across. So We did pay out a lot of people in EFX instead, and there was other people that just wanted that no matter what, which were the people that produced much more tasks than the average. And so those are 7 people, I believe. That's the numbers that I saw. Out of the hundreds that were doing these tasks, there's 7 that they want those tokens. So we're are given out. I'm pretty
sorry,
sure,
Chris.
but
I'm going to have you repeat that. You were cutting out a little bit, and I want to make sure the answer is clear for everyone.
sorry, there's only a few people that requested to get paid out in world tokens. The cost of the transaction to send world tokens far outweighs the amount that people were earning on these tasks in most cases. So that's the answer.
Thank you, Chris. There's one more question now about the mobile app. You recently mentioned on the newest episode of the Weekly Effect. When can we expect this app to be released? Will there be a beta test that people can participate in? Will the mobile app be available on both Android and iOS? And will wallets be integrated into this app? Which ones?
Sorry, I was gone for just a second. Did I miss something? Was there a question for me?
It's okay. The next question is about the app, the Effect Force app. And the questions are, when it can be expected to be released, if there will be a beta test that people can participate in, and if this mobile app will be available for both Android and iOS, and if there will be wallets integrated into the app. Which ones?
Cool. So the mobile app will be, it's being built. It will be ready by the end of the year, and it will be released on both iOS and on Android. And it will support all the major wallets. So it will support, Anchor Wallet. It will have a built-in wallet as well. That is probably most convenient and less secure. But it will also support like the major wallets on mobile platforms. So that's the quick answer to that.
Thank you, Jesse. Now I'm going to move to the requester questions. So the first one, does EffectAI BV have a list of clients they will approach over the next 3, 6, and 12 months? Does the company offer a commission for referring clients? If so, what is it?
I think I can field this pretty quick. So we've employed lots of business developers, different people to onboard clients, some successful, some not so successful. We have major lists of people that, that we're reaching out to and that we have reached out to. Our main focus for this year is to build the best decentralized task platform in existence. So we've already proven how this can work. We've proven in such a significant way that we have clients like Kraft Heinz and Linus Tech Tips using us every single day. It works. It doesn't matter if we're decentralized, if we work with a cryptocurrency, if our workforce is earning cryptocurrencies and is distributed. Our platform works, and our main objective was to validate these systems. So we built products and services for various reasons, but the main and most important reason was to validate if this was going to work. It works. It works on the subject matter we had no experience in, and we built businesses behind them. That's I forgot the question with my rant there. But that's what we've proven, and that's kind of our focus. Oh, the people that we're reaching out to. Our main focus now, clients, if they come in and we have the capability to onboard them, we will. That's not our primary and major focus. Our major focus is to make sure that there are more tasks on the Effect network, and to make sure that that scales in the way that we envision it to, in a way much beyond the Effect.ai BV, is to make sure that there's capabilities for people to actually build products and services on the Effect network. So just like Amazon, if you sell on Amazon, you sell as a seller because they've given you an SDK, they've given you the capabilities, the onboarding to be able to sell your products and services through them. We want to be kind of that for task-based related small micro tasks in a decentralized way. So that's what we're aiming for. We have lots of clients when we get to the point, like lots of clients to reach out to when we get to the point of opening up this system for people to build on. But for right now, we're focused on the developers and the people that can build on it.
Thank you, Chris. The only thing that I think was missing was the commission for referring clients. Does the company offer something?
Oh, that's also a good question. So we've always offered something for people getting clients on board. But again, with that being said, we're really not focused on that referral program. If we were, then we would go that business development route. We're more focused on building these systems so people can build products and services. So if somebody came to us like Jehuda or a community member and said, I have a client, then there's definitely a commission that will be paid out for anything that kind of comes onto the Effect network. But for right now, there's nothing official and nothing we're focused on more than building out the SDK and getting through the hackathon at the end of the year.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, the next question is, Chris, hinted that a big new client was coming the company's way. Is still this in the works? If so, can you review who yet and time frame on when tasks get on 10?
Yeah, there's been some major clients that we've been talking to, and what we've learned, Kraft Heinz works faster than any other company that we've been dealing with. There's a major process to onboarding these guys, and I've spoke way out of turn and way prematurely, thinking that everybody was going to turn out to be a Kraft Heinz. So we're still talking to pretty big requesters, but I have no additional news on that, and I apologize to the community. But we are still talking to that specific one and others, but it just takes a lot longer than I would have ever imagined to onboard these clients. We're very lucky to have Kraft Heinz and have their participation and how they work. But other big corporates and huge corporates, there's a major process to actually make deals happen. So we're in the process of a couple of things that we may or may not release publicly, but yeah, quite a few of them are pretty big.
Thank you, Chris. So the next question would be, why are there no new requesters or tasks on EffectForce at the moment, other than translation, NFT, and social media tasks?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Those are our core subjects right now. That's what we're focused on. I think a lack of focus is what held us back from creating tasks. So those are the few that we're very focused on, and we'll continue to be focused on leading into the hackathon. And then hopefully some people will come up with some pretty cool products and services that add more tasks, and we can continue to focus on the things that we found that worked as products. But we've had about 15, 20 different products. Many of them have completely failed due to market size, due to competition, due to price, due to quality. But the few that we have validated to be pretty good business use cases, we're excited to go back to that. But the first thing is to build out something really big for everybody.
So the next question is, right now, how many clients currently use 10, and how does their work directly benefit those who stake in the DAO for shares of network fees?
Well, with every task, there's a portion that goes to the DAO. So the more the merrier. We have several clients. I don't even know the number offhand. We have several task types that we do for these different clients. Obviously, the biggest being craft times, as you guys all know. That really took a lot of time and a lot of focus, and it's ongoing and it's paying dividends. And other clients we can reference participation with craft times and what we've done for them. So the reason for the lack of tasks is we're just very focused on the ones that we're actually doing, and really focused on the end of the year hackathon to make sure that more developers and more products and services are seen in the Effect network.
Yeah, so we found that over the last few years that it's been better to have few clients and scale them to a lot of tasks. That's currently the main driver of Effect Force. It's just a couple clients, 5 or 6, and they have plenty of tasks, and that's what's fueling it right now. But to scale horizontally, to actually get more requesters, that's in the end how we can scale past this point, how we can get even bigger and more consistent. So that's the goal. And yeah, Chris mentioned the hackathon, important part of it, but attracting more companies to build on this, and these companies will have their own clients. That's where we want to go. So at the moment, we have a few clients that are producing quite a bit of tasks ongoing. So at least every month there's tasks coming in. That's a base, but we do know and realize as a decentralized project, we want to grow way beyond this point. And we want, I think for a decentralized project, we have quite a bit going on, but we want to scale way beyond this. And our strategy now will be have people build and more companies built on top of this technology.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm going to take a moment here to shift over to Bree for a few task questions, and then we need to get on to the marketing section, as we've already been 2 hours and almost 15 minutes now. So, Bree, over to you.
Hi, thanks. Okay, I'm back. I'm not going to spend too much time on token talk because I think Anna and some of the other questions have really covered a lot. So I've got 2 questions really out of curiosity. And if I've missed anything, community, just let me know and we'll find out the answer in the DAO calls later. But my question is the NFT tasks. I love these tasks. They're fun, but where are they coming from? Who's the client on these? Can we say? Do we know who the client is that we can share?
There's a few different clients on the NFT stuff, and there's lots and lots and lots more to come. There's no release on this right now, but the NFT space is quite considerable, all the way from Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the top entrepreneurs in the world, and you have platforms like OpenSea. Data labeling in this category is one of the most important things for mass adoption. And I and the team saw.
So these are multiple clients that are contributing to these tasks?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So more to come. Yay. All right. Just that aside, that was something I was curious about. A lot of the questions that we've covered, like, you know, the tasks have reduced in amount lately. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of tasks. And you've stated that there's more coming from KH. So I'm going to kind of leave that aside. There's a question here that is asking for very specific amounts. But your answer is like, well, we can't give you the numbers on the specific amounts of what a client has paid or not. And I think we can accept that, or most of us can accept that. So I'm just going to leave that aside. If somebody has something really pressing on that, let me know privately, or we'll add it onto the DAO or someplace and ask it. But you've already answered it. It's writing. So here's one thing, though. When the clients start coming in again, if KH is You know, what can we look for on the blockchain that's going to indicate that requesters are really upping their task amount? You know,
The number of transactions.
yeah, if the number of transactions are increasing, what can we really look for in that requester account? What are we going to see that's going to be different? Just like, is it going to come in?
Just the answer is just that, the transactions themselves. That's it. If Kraft Heinz is doing 5,000 a week and they move to 20,000 a week, that means there's an increase of a pretty significant amount. So yeah, that's the answer to that. This is all on the blockchain. So there's a lot of community members that don't get it. If a transaction appears and a task is completed, and then there's a bunch more from the same, then it means that there's more tasks being created, which means there's more throughput, more money, more transactions, more stuff. So I don't understand the question. It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
On a higher level, what would you say is the delay between Kraft Heinz wanting tasks, like as you said, if they wanted, spend $20,000 more, what would be the delay before like they say they want to do that, and then those tasks appear, for workers to do?
So some insider kind of information about it is that Kraft Heinz, several different departments are now reaching out to us to use us. So it's not just the original ones, and there's many different phases to each section of that client. So the different departments that we're working with, it can have some significant wait periods, and maybe they just have a few one-off tasks before we get the big boatload. Like I said, there's a big boatload coming again over the next couple of days with a different department. But we've done such a good job with Kraft Heinz that the other departments are now we're working with. So that's interesting. So it's just a matter of tasks. So to go back to the original question, if you see more tasks that are related to the same requester, it just means things are going on the up and up. And if you see a pause, it either means that requester is done, or we might be working with them in a different capacity, just like Kraft Heinz.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, I'm going to move on to marketing. We're really past time, so hopefully I condensed this appropriately. All right, so it seems that there is a solid plan in place for long-term marketing with building relationships and participating in events. We know that there has been a strong marketing effort in China. We know that there is a lot riding on the SDK and the outcomes. However, there are still many in the community that feel waiting on the SDK to arrive is not the best approach for bringing awareness to the Effect Network, to the greater crypto community. While the SDK is being developed, will there be an increased promotion to bring in requesters for EffectDAO's apps in and out of the crypto space, or a campaign for educating people outside of our community about Effect Network and how they can get involved? Just more general awareness to other projects, reaching out through other communities or through Twitter or through little ads that pop up. I don't know. So something more short term and more pronounced. So is there
I fully understand the question, and I get it. We're always in the process of building, and we're the SDK, waiting for the SDK. I don't know where this question came from. We're always doing marketing. We're always pushing forward. We're always getting this done. I think this comes from me talking about a mass marketing push, and the timing is just wrong and very expensive for no particular reason. We will build the SDK. Happens, and we're there. And I do promise each and every one of you guys that there will be marketing efforts that will create attention. It's our biggest. It's at least my biggest thing. It's the only thing that I know that matters. Jesse and Lawrence build things. I understand that there needs to be attention for the project to be able to grow. I will continue to forge forward on that and come up with different examples. And I will not listen to the static and noise of the community and different opinions of people. will do what I think is right. I will obviously take into effect all of the different things that people are suggesting, but a lot of them are a waste of money and a waste of time. I promise you that my only objective is to make sure that this token and project gets the attention that it deserves, and that is short term, midterm, and long term. So that's my commitment, and that's the deal.
I had a question to add on this whole marketing effort thing. So, as has been discussed during this AMA, that there's a big push for marketing in China. Will the SDK have basically multi-language support? Are we expecting to also market the SDK to Chinese developers? Or is it mostly going to be for clients on the requester side or perhaps workers in China?
So on this side, yeah, the language barrier is an issue for a little bit, as in many Chinese developers we've been contacting and exploring that. So the language barrier is an issue. So you would need to have a multilingual SDK and also have like translators involved with the hackathon event and with the SDK in general. So yeah, meaning to say we are exploring and we are trying to set that up. We have, of course, Chinese community. We have important team members. Velika is really in connection with these developers as well. But yeah, the language barrier is important. So SDK initially English, but yeah, we want to expand that and have Chinese groups participate during hackathons and also using the SDK. So we're aware of the steps that need to be taken, but we're still sort of mapping out exactly how hard, how much effort, what does it mean to have a multilingual SDK, multilingual hackathon, with multilingual meaning like English and Chinese. It's not it doesn't happen frequently. You don't see those occurring often. It's often separate hackathons, and separate SDKs. So there's sort of a barrier, but we were looking to overcome that barrier. But I cannot promise how hard is it to accomplish this?
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, I'm going to ask about influencers. Ivan on Tech, MDX Crypto, other ones. We're in sort of a bearish downturn right now, which could change any moment, but it could last longer than any of us like. It already has, I suppose. But is there any plan in place right now with any of these influencers that we might see surface soonish?
Yes, definitely, and others that you don't expect will certainly be there. It's a big part of this, and we understand it. I was recently in Lisbon with MDX Crypto. He's an old friend of mine. Yeah, he'll do anything to support and anything to help. He's a great believer in not just the project, but of the team behind the project. We also work with him on different things. So that's one guy, but that's just one guy out of many different influencers that are out there. We're connected to quite a few of them. We know quite a few, and obviously with Blockdown and my other initiatives, I have contacts with almost anybody. Yeah, we will have things come out. I promise, with influencers and everything else. Yeah, there's a way to structure these things out in a better way than we've done. And so I've been putting this together, meeting with MDX Crypto on different initiatives for the Effect Network and others. So yeah, we need to get our influencer game in line, and we will.
All right. Yeah, and there's some competition creeping up too. That has been a bit more noticeable. So we've had more discussions about that in the DAO meetings. But it would be really nice to see some counterbalance from our project with increased visibility of some other projects that are similar. That's not a question. That's just a statement. Okay, weekly effect. It's not really weekly, Chris. And it was really good, very regular for a while, but the last little while it's been its timing's not been great, I have to say. Let's change it. Let's make it something that's going to be very reasonable for everyone to participate in and make it interesting. Let's maybe have tours of inside, talk to employees, see what they're up to. The weekly ask is fantastic, but maybe that could be part of that weekly effect. I'm not sure weekly is a good word anymore. But let's make it reasonable for you. So it can be more consistent, more reliable on when it's released. Inconsistency is not the best thing.
No, certainly not. And there was great consistency there. It's incredibly hard work to produce, and my apologies for the for non-consistency. There's weeks that things are not so relevant and hard to film, and whatever. Like I said in the last video, if you watched it, we'll make things when they need to be made, at least once a month. We used to do the monthly AMAs, and I think, maybe better than we have so much going on in the Effect Network, but it's like, it feels so repetitive now, number of tasks and number of things and this and that. So it's a bit difficult to do every single week. So I'll do better. And I think that we can break down the video, the monthly video or the bi-weekly video, into a bunch of different sections that can come out in kind of clips. So we have I think we can do that.
I think, and this isn't any of the questions, I'm just adding to this, but I think there could be a section in there about the DAO and proposals, and maybe a little sharing of, not a lot, but like 2 or 3 minutes, just a little share of what's going on with the DAO added into that. So that could come from a community member or it could come from you. I don't know. That's just my thinking.
There's lots of creative stuff we can do with socials, but thanks.
Okay, so that's really the pressing stuff I had to deal with as far as marketing. Just to recap, we'd really like to see something more short-term and pronounced, and then let's see how it goes. But overall, I'm finished, and thank you so much.
Great. Chris, Jesse, would any of you like to put in a final thought before I end the show?
I'd just like to say thanks to everybody involved. We've been here since 2017. We've been through ups and downs, and a lot of the community members that were there at the beginning are still right here, right now. We all appreciate you, especially me. A lot of my lonely nights have been at Telegram with all you chats. So I appreciate you guys now more than ever. And the journey, legitimately, the Effect Network journey is just starting. Like any business in the world, it doesn't accomplish anything in the first few years unless a complete outlier and a complete fluke. We're doing our best work. We will continue to do our best work, and we'll do it with you guys. With the release of the DAO is one of the most exciting things. I'm a little disappointed that there wasn't way more emphasis on the DAO and the future of the DAO. But I think that's a major future for us. And this year and all of the things that we accomplish will lead us into a very bright, beautiful future. I just like to thank everybody, especially the speakers, the people that were participating as people with questions and that. So I appreciate you guys. We'll continue to rock for the rest of the time. So that's my commitment, and that's the deal. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Chris. I want to say one thing about the DAO before we all leave. There were not a lot of DAO-centered questions because we're dealing with them on the DAO. So separately, and they get written up in weekly notes. So if you haven't been reading those weekly notes, everybody, please do. There's a lot of information in there, and Jesse and Chris have been on there and answering a lot of questions there too. And we tried not to double up. So if they've been answered on the DAO calls, they haven't necessarily been touched on this one. And I think the DAO is a fabulous, fabulous thing. So get involved. All right. Okay.
Okay, great. I want to thank everyone in the audience and community, my fellow DAO members and my fellow EffectDAO team members for all their time and attention that went into this event and spending the last 2.5 hours with us. Boy, it's been a crazy 2.5 hours. The results of this special AMA will be posted, I think, maybe in the DAO's Git book. More details will follow. So, thank you, everyone. Cheers.